So if I look all the way back to day one of running every single day, I definitely see an image of a much younger self, but the reason I started running every single day was simply because I hated to run. And that's real. I'm not just saying that because it sounds cool to say. I actually didn't like running. It was something that was very intimidating to me. I felt like I wasn't very good at it. I felt like I didn't have the capacity to be a great runner. And I think most people that don't run feel very much the same way, which is probably what holds most people back from starting. But I knew that if I was able to do the thing that I hated every single day, like genuinely face that consistently, it would do something for me. And if I'm being honest, at that point, I couldn't have articulated it very well. I didn't know exactly what the reason was, but I now know that being able to face that, showing up every single day to the thing you don't want to do, it builds certainty within yourself, right? There's nothing that you have to hold in terms of guilt for not trying to be your best self because you're walking towards that every single day. It's uncomfortable, it's not fun, it is literally doing the thing that you hate to do. But you get the peace of mind of knowing that you are walking towards being your highest self. That is exactly why I started running every single day.
You know, this is day 700 of this too. Sometimes it's like so difficult to organize my mind in here. So physically uncomfortable, but there's no other option but to remain calm in a sense. And so the necessity is almost a reminder of what you should do and how you should approach it. But it's a constant work, like every second is work to try and relax. And I feel my hands clench up and I try and just breathe back into it. And then I feel my legs push against the wall, and then I have to just breathe into it. And it's like a full, constant work of just acceptance.
So when the whole daily running thing first started, it was actually a 30-day challenge that I was going to do with my friend to run at least a mile every single day. And again, it was based on not wanting to do it, but we embarked on this 30 days pretty easily. I got to the end of the 30 days of running every single day and realized that it had done something for me. I had spent an entire month facing this thing that once intimidated me, and I became more familiar with that fear. Now, day 31 was going to come around, and I had a decision to make. Do I stop doing this thing because I set out to do 30 days, or do I keep going because can I really default to a worse version of myself? The decision was pretty clear to me. I had to keep going because I had leveled up from this experience and I didn't want to walk back on that. I wanted to keep going, and from that point, I never didn't run. So every 100 days or so, I come about this benchmark of a new 2,300 days in a row, 2,400 days in a row, and where my mind really goes is back to my younger self. Because 2,400 days is a lot of days, and that's 6.5 years ago. At that point, I was 17. If I really do the deep dive on where my mind was at, I know it was in a place of fear. It was in a place of anxiety and being afraid of what was to come, being unsure of what was to come, and that's not a good spot to be because you feel like the world is controlling you. I always knew the things that I was capable of, but I always felt very held back and contained by what the external world had to offer to me, and in a lot of ways I felt trapped. I felt trapped in school. I felt trapped in my own mind because I couldn't overcome my anxiety about school. And with this, I had to learn how to tolerate things that were external, but I had to learn how to work on myself. And so running every single day was an exercise of exactly that. I cannot control the external, but I can control all of my behaviors. I can control where my mind goes. Through this process, I've become the person that no longer fears himself. I'm not afraid of me because I know what to expect of myself. I've built evidence that I'm the person I say I am. I've built evidence that when I say I'm going to do something, I show up to that thing. So when I run every day, it's not to be winning the Boston Marathon, it's to be winning my own relationship with myself. And that is more valuable than any marathon you could possibly run.
That's fire.
With this level of repetition and routine in my life, you experience the same exact thing every single day, over and over. It's just these countless experiences that are all so very similar. And so mentally it kind of gets lumped together, but you're present for every single one. When I look back on the past 6.5 years of my life, there was no sense of distraction. I was there every single second of every minute of every hour of every day. That is a wild library of memories that I have with myself. I can't write the book about that. There's no way to recount every single micro moment of what my life has consisted of. But all of those micro moments that I literally can't even remember right now, except for the ones maybe today, those are the big moments. Those are the biggest moments of my life. Because had I not shown up for the micro moments, there wouldn't be the YouTube video about the 2,400 days in a row without day 14 or day 111. Those matter more than anything. And so if you're trying to achieve something big, you got to recognize that the behaviors and the thoughts and the way that you talk to yourself in the smallest moments of your life, that's what makes the biggest difference.
2,400 days. That is a long time to have done this. And it's crazy because that is 6.5 years, but it is all made up of one day at a time, doing the same exact thing. It is freezing this morning, and there have been hundreds of those. There have been hundreds of sad mornings, hundreds of frustrated mornings, hundreds of injured mornings. We've been out here every time. That's how you make 2,400.
Everybody loves to show up when the stars align, but I always say that it's the most important to show up when there are no stars at all, because that's where you actually learn. The day where I'm having a really, really bad time, and then I make my time even worse by getting out there to run, because it's difficult. Those are the days, those are these micro moments I'm talking about where I don't even remember them, but that's me. The person I am is made up of every single one of those moments, and I'm grateful for all of them. And so the hardest days are not the flashy, cool story that will be a part of the book. The hardest days, again, are the ones that I can't even remember. But the pain was there, and I know that for a fact. There was a long time where it was actually just me. It was actually just me out there running, reflecting on my life, trying to learn something from that. And to do that no matter what is an interesting experience. Because now, of course, after so many days being stacked up, people have all the questions. What happens when you're sick? What happens when you travel? What happens when it's raining? What happens when this and that? All of those situations include me running. And it's crazy to have kept the promise through the excuses when I promise you in 6.5 years there are plenty of excuses I could have made, and the excuses would have been valid. Most people will use the excuse because most people want to rationalize a way out of the thing that they've committed to. I want to be on my own team so bad, so I do not care to rationalize my way out. I want to rationalize a way to keep the promise. So, yeah, I'm sick sometimes. Yeah, I'm tired like every time. I don't want to get out of bed just like you. I have the whole list of excuses, and it's nothing but a reinforcement of my desire to show up one more time.
Here I am on day 2,400 in a row of running every single morning. The last 6.5 years almost feel like a blur, but at the same time, I feel like I remember every single moment because I never left. All too many people spend their entire lives trying to escape themselves, and all I ever wanted to do was be on my own team. My brain is packed full of memories of hard times, but every single one is paired with a memory of overcoming. That is real self-love. Because for a long time I lived in paralyzing fear of what would happen to me, and all I needed was a hero. Well, every hero starts somewhere, So I decided to become my own.
Gosh, like I said, I always come back to my younger self. And, today, if I'm being honest, I feel a little bit spoiled because when I say something, people listen. A lot of people like my ideas now. When I post something, people comment on it, and it's kind of crazy to even think. What a luxury, right? That my ideas get to be received, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. But what I'm even more grateful for is to look back on a younger version of me that actually didn't have any of that. There was no gratifying nature to having my ideas. There was no gratifying nature to running every single day, being out there by myself, not really knowing exactly why I was doing it. There wasn't much gratification involved in that. And for that version of me, I'm incredibly thankful because there were so many moments that proved I should not keep going. Maybe even that my ideas were not worth sharing. And that's a hard place to work from. I promise you that's a hard place to work from. And I did not choose to stop. I did not choose to quit when the option was very available. And that's the only reason I have today what I have. So to my younger self, to my past self, thank you. I'm incredibly grateful. And in terms of the future, there is absolutely no plan to stop. Because what would that be saying about who I am? The person I am keeps going. Because today is just another version of day one. Tomorrow might be 2,401, but really it's just another day one.